And we're just trying to figure out what it means as the church to be the church.
Amen.
I've got a strong conviction that the local church is the hope of the world. And if that's the case, then that's my belief. I give my heart to this and my life to this because I believe the local church is the hope of the world. I believe it's God's transformation center. I believe it's what He uses to bring life change and transformation to communities and to homes. And that's the only place that is designed for the purpose of heart change and life transformation. Every place else, even schools, are designed to give you educational knowledge, life skills, and not life change. The church is about life change. It's heart change. It's the only place that focuses or should focus on that. And when I can change, when you allow God to change your heart, everything else shifts with that. And so my conviction is the local church is the hope of the world. So we spent time out there with them last night. There's a meeting today. There's another meeting tomorrow, and I'm sure there'll be subsequent ones following that. But I want you all to be in prayer with me and with us as a church as we figure out what it means to get knee deep, or as far deep as we gotta get, to bring change, not just from this incident, but so that we don't have to have many more of these. And so the church as a whole. We moved into this facility in January, so the last 3.5 or so months have been adjusting to a new rhythm and learning the community and all that. But the church is going to take a shift into one of our core directions, which is empowering students and families. It's one of the cores of who we are. We talk about what's our strategy, what do we believe God has uniquely equipped us to do. One of those areas is empowering students and families, and so you all will hear me really soon coming back to talk about some plans, but then also to ask you all some questions about how it is you are capable of getting behind the work we believe God has called us to do. And so for now, be prayerful. It's going to require time. Amen. Amen. It's going to require talent. Amen. And it's going to require our treasure. Amen. Amen. You can't say you care and you want to do something if you're not willing to invest time. You can't say you care and want to do something if you're not willing to invest your talent. And you can't say that you truly care if you're not willing to invest your resources into making it happen. And so I'm asking you all at this moment to be prayerful with us in all three of those areas. And as I look even across the room, I've got some kids in here, some students in here who happen to go to the Providence schools, and so it's a painstaking one that's hitting everybody. And it was a tough night last night, but I believe God is sovereign. Yes. Yeah. It ended with a moment of prayer and ultimately an altar call for decisions. Yeah. And we felt like God did something that night, like something broke last night. And I'm just convinced this is the start of what should have happened a long time ago, but hasn't. But I do believe it's the start of something special to bring change and transformation to our communities. I think partnerships are going to be strengthened because of it, even between the church and schools. And so be in prayer with me about that. Amen? Amen. Y'all got it?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all got it?
Yeah, we got you. Yes, we do.
I need your help on this one.
Got you.
Yes.
I need your help on this one. But I believe God's going to get all the glory from it. We're going to see change take place. Let me give you these other ones really quickly, and I'm going to jump right in. These other ones are super quick stuff you probably already know, but I want to remind you of it. Number one, I want to say thank you for an incredible weekend last weekend. Let me say thank you so much. We got a couple quick pictures to show you. Soup for the Soul Saturday was incredible. Sunday here was awesome. Yeah. And so people were just smiling, taking pictures. We were doing the congratulations thing. The cupcakes were, how many of y'all enjoyed the cupcakes?
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
So good.
For those who got cupcakes, because I hear some people try to hide them under their shirt. I'm talking about my cousin in the car. And nonetheless, I want to say thank you all for participating with that. Then we went out to Topgolf. I don't think we have any pictures of Topgolf, but that was an incredible time. So thank you for those who came out with us for that. I mean, it was a lot of fun getting to know you all, spending time with you all. And that's just the first of many things that we'll do that are similar to that. But Sunday was incredible. And so I want to say thank you all. When I say the best is yet to come, I don't mean that metaphorically. I don't say that of hyperbole. I say it because I believe it. The best is yet to come. And in my mind, as I wrestled this week, I couldn't help but sense that as we turn 3, as our conviction of the best is yet to come, the level of respect and influence that we have gained and continue to gain at a moment like this in our community is critical. So I don't find it to be a coincidence. There's plenty of other people they can be calling. There's plenty of other churches they can be turning to. But they're trusting us to also come in alongside of everybody else. And I believe that's strategic. So I really, when I say I need you all to pray with me, I need you all to pray with me because we believe that this is where life change happens.
Yes.
Y'all with me?
Yes.
This is where life change happens. We believe that God's power has moved and is moving through here. And so I want to make sure you're in prayer with us about that. But I want to say thank you all for an incredible weekend last weekend. Continue to treat every weekend like a big weekend because every weekend is a chance for lives to be changed.
Yes.
I mean that. Every
That's
weekend is a
right.
big weekend because every weekend is a chance for lives to be changed. It's not just about anniversary. I'm sure Easter will be crazy as well. But in between anniversary, Easter, Mother's Day, Christmas, y'all MCE Christians, the Mother's Day, Christmas and Easter. And somewhere in between those bedrock days. And every Sunday is a big day because every Sunday is a chance for somebody's life to be changed.
Amen.
It's our story.
Yeah.
And we gotta approach that. We gotta tell people every week, like, man, you gotta get this because life change is waiting.
Yeah.
Amen.
And my conviction is, man, if we get more people, and it's not just here, pick a place committed to life change. I'm not gonna say pick a church committed to life change.
Yeah.
Send them there. But as we invite people to open their heart to God, transforming their heart, we'll see a lot of some of the stuff that's taking place because of hatred and loneliness and isolation fade away.
Yeah.
But we got to do our part. Like we don't value our part that we play in all of that. And I'm telling you right now, the biggest part some of y'all can play is just open your mouth to invite somebody. Think about that. Bible study is back this Tuesday, and Bible study is back this Tuesday. And make sure that we have baptism immediately following the service. We're heading up to Broadview Baptist. We do have a candidate for baptism today.
Yeah.
If you get baptized, it's not too late. Just let us know, and we'll take care of it. If you want to make a decision today, you can get in that water today.
Today. Do not delay.
Do not delay. It is warm and weighted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a cold pool, I can assure you that. It's warm, it's nice. It's nice. Easter Fest.
Yeah.
Easter Fest. Listen, I've been convinced Easter Fest is going to be ridiculously crazy this year, but in light of the sense of defeat and hopelessness that I feel like it's kind of combat our generation of kids, Easter Fest is going to be critically important this year.
Yeah.
It's a beacon of hope in the community.
Yes.
And so if you thought it was important last week, let me tell you, it's even more important now.
Yeah.
Because this is hope. This is encouragement. This is inspiring. It's empowering. It's engaging. And I need your help to get it done. But I believe when we commit to it, and I'll talk about this at the end, when we commit to it, we're going to see the manifestation of God's presence. And we'll enjoy watching life transformation happen because we put our human effort with His divine energy.
Yes, sir.
And when we do that, we're gonna experience God in a way we haven't before. All right, I'm in a series called I'm Going For, and this is really week 4 of it. And the whole idea is this, that there are some things in life that we don't get unless we pursue it. That there are some things in life we don't get unless we make the decision to go for it. That there are things in life, there are situations in life, there's a calling on all of our lives, there's a purpose for all of our lives, there's something for all of us and in all of us, but ultimately if we don't go for it, it will not happen. That faith without works is that ultimately some stuff you can pray for and pray for and pray for and pray for, and He's like, will you go for it? Or you gonna keep praying and watching and waiting and just you praying that all of a sudden it just happens. You just praying and waiting for change to happen in our community. You just waiting on Superman to come.
Amen.
Invade the community, rescue everybody, rid us of the crime. Superman ain't coming, y'all.
Amen.
So will you wake up the lion on the inside of you and roar back at the enemy?
Mm-hmm.
Will you wake up the thing on the inside of you and say, I've sat silently for long enough. You will not take my household anymore.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Will you roar back When the enemy is as this roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, will you roar back with the spiritual authority that he gave to all of us and say, not my kids, not my streets, not my schools, not my homes, not my church, but I will try another one?
Come on.
Because if you think it's on anybody else, you're believing a lie.
Amen.
It's on you. It's on us to make a decision. To say, God told me this. God promised me this. He assured me of this. And I'm going for it.
Amen.
Because if I'm not,
Amen.
it won't happen. But if I do, I can catch a lion in a pit
Yeah.
and kill him
On the snowy.
on a snowy day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Second Chronicles 23 tells me I can be like Benaiah. And I can see a lion. Chase him down in a pit on a snowy day and kill him. I can be like David. Nothing but a little shepherd boy. Coming to deliver sandwiches to his brother. Realize there's a giant in the land. Look at all his brothers who are afraid and say to those brothers, who is this Philistine giant that defies the armies of the living God? They're wondering, how is it that David has so much tenacity? David, you're nothing but a boy. You come out here to stir up trouble. He says, what is there not a word? Some of your translations, 1 Samuel 17, say, is there not a call? Some of your translations come back and say, was there not but a word? He says, and on this day, the king thinks he's crazy. He says, if you're going to go, at least put on my armor. That way when they kill you, they don't kill you as bad. He says, no, I can't go with your armor. For I have not tried your armor, but these little stones and this little slingshot I get, let me tell you about what I can do with what I got. Because I might not have what you think I need, but what I do have is enough.
Yeah.
And some of you all today, you've been feeling like what you have is not enough to get the job done. But if you learn how to work what you have,
Yeah.
that there is enough in you where if you put your enough with what God has for you, is it possible you could kill some stuff that you've been running from? Because David was out here, he was able to look at it and say, all I got is these little stones, I got this little slingshot right here, but I know what to do with it. As a matter of fact, I've killed a lion and a bear before. I've been practicing while y'all were sleeping. And so while y'all were sleeping, I was out in the field fighting other giants because I had real responsibility. So you didn't understand why you thought I was out playing with sheep. I was learning my skill. So I know my word. So I have done like it says in Psalm 73. I have learned how to become skilled with the skillfulness of my hand and the integrity of my heart. So I've worked on my skill while I worked on my heart. Some of y'all work on your skill but don't work on your heart. David says I have learned how to shepherd with the integrity of my heart and the skillfulness of my hand. Because if I learn how to work my hand, then keep my heart right. God will bless it. Are you with me? And so this is this whole idea that if you really want to go for it, it's going to take some stuff from you.
Come on.
Benaiah says, I saw this lion in the pit on a snowy day and I killed him. David says, I saw a bear and a lion. I saw him and I slew him. And ultimately, this giant right here, he said that arm rises to rise up against the army of the living God. Surely he will come down. He took him down and he brought his head back. He said, I'm going for it. I told you last week about this woman who gets a promise. And as she gets this promise, she says, Lord, don't give it to me. Elijah, don't even set me up, prophet, because I didn't want this thing. I didn't ask for this thing. Don't give me this thing because ultimately I've been disappointed enough. So if you give me this, is this going to leave me in a place where I didn't even want this burden, but you're going to give me this child. And then you give me this child and then you take the child from me. She says back, wait a minute, I'm not going to receive this. They said, what's wrong with the Shunammite woman? The woman says back, all is well.
Yes, she does.
She says all is well. She's able to look at the problem, see devastation in the land and say all is well. Because she believed without a shadow of a doubt that the same God that could give her the child was the same God that can make a difference all over again. Do you have the kind of confidence to say whatever it looks like, I'm going to go for God? Or are you going to do like others do which is when times get tough, you run back to your pet peeves, and you run back to your habitual habits that have gotten you nowhere before.
Jesus.
When it gets tough, you go back to the bottom.
Wow.
When it gets tough, you go back to whatever your substance abuse of choice might be. When it gets tough, you go back to the bed that isn't yours. I got kids in the room, so I can't say what I want to say. So use your imagination.
Amen.
When it gets tough, do you run back to your flesh or do you learn to run to God?
Yeah.
Run, learn that. Amen.
So what I want to look at today, in the 10 minutes I got left, is
Amen.
Mark chapter number 9. And Mark chapter number 9. Many of us have heard this passage before, but when I was reading it this week, I kind of saw something slightly differently because most of us have read this passage. It's a passage about a man who has a sick child. And as he has a sick child, he brings the sick child to Jesus after he brings the sick child to the disciples. When he brings the child to the disciples, it says that he brings it to them and they could do nothing. It's a sad indictment on him bringing them to the people that were entrusted to take care of him. He brings it to the church, and the church can't help because the church people that are in the church, they're not praying when they're supposed to pray. They're not believing when they're supposed to believe. So the church is found hopeless. The church is leaving people hopeless. It's a sad depiction of how the disciples are leaving them. It's a depiction of how the church at times can leave people feeling hopeless because instead of praying, they're playing. And it's just a mess.
Right.
You want help, and they ain't got help because they've been playing around and mismanaging and all this foolishness. And what are you doing? And Jesus asked the question to the disciples, how long am I going to have to put up with you faithless generation?
Yes. Yes.
I don't have time to walk verse by verse, but it's there. He says to them, how long am I going to have to put up with this? It's going to be there in verse number 19. Verse 19 says, how long,
Yeah.
oh faithless generation, am I to be with you? King James says, how long do I have to put up with you? It's this picture, this indictment. It's an incredible story of what happens when all of a sudden, when Jesus steps into our lives, because Jesus intervenes and he changes everything, but he paints this picture. But what I want to look at is not just this idea. I want to look at how this man said, I'm going for my belief. If you look at what he says, it's right here. It says, oh, faith, how long am I going to have to put up with you? Verse number 20 says, and they brought the boy to him. And when the spirit saw him, immediately it convulsed in the boy. And he fell on the ground. And the boy rolled around, foaming at the mouth. And Jesus asked the father, how long has this been happening to him? And he said, from childhood. And it's often cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. He says, but if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. And Jesus said to him, if you can. All things are possible for one who believes. And immediately the father of the child cried out and said, I believe, help my unbelief. Are you willing to be honest about your doubts?
Amen.
Because here's what I've discovered. If I'm not willing to be honest about my doubts and my reservations and my feelings, if I'm not willing to be honest that sometimes I get doubtful and I get worried and I get concerned, if I'm not willing to be honest about any of that, I can never say, Lord, I believe, but help me unbelieve. I just walk around disillusioned, thinking I believe, knowing I don't. Telling people I'm praying, knowing I'm not. Going to church, but lacking faith.
Yes, sir.
Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. So they're there, and he says, I'm going for my purpose. I'm going for my belief. Today I want to talk about what it means to go for your belief. What is your belief? Your belief, by definition, Merriam-Webster puts it this way. This is the definition that Merriam-Webster has for belief. It says this idea of what happens when a state or a habit of mind in which trust or confidence is placed in some person or something. Belief. Lord, I believe, but help my belief. Lord, I believe you can, but I don't know if you will. Lord, I believe, but I'm not confident. That's what really happens. Lord, I believe you, God, but I'm not confident you're going to come through. And I want to make the argument, say many of us wrestle there, we're just not honest about it. And where you're not honest, you don't get healed. Where you're not honest, you don't get helped. Where you're not honest, you don't get strengthened. Where you're not honest, you don't overcome. Where you keep lying to yourself about it, medicating yourself about it, and self-medicating yourself about it, telling everybody you're okay, and you know you're not okay, and you're just struggling, and you try to figure it out, but all of a sudden, you're just ticking time bomb, you're always on the edge.
Jesus.
All because you won't say, Lord, I believe. But help my unbelief. What would happen if you said, I'm going for my belief? I will not settle for less than God's best. I will not settle for this answer you keep giving me. My God made me a promise, and I won't stop now. He said, Lord, I believe. But help my unbelief. Look, I mean, it's an incredible picture because as this man, this father, makes this request, it says, and when Jesus saw that a crowd came running together, he rebuked the spirit, saying to it, you muted deaf spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again. After crying out and convulsing terribly, he came out and the boy was like a corpse. So that most of them said he is dead, but Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him, and he arose. And when he entered the house, the disciples asked him privately, why could we not cast it out? He said to them, this kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer. It's this idea that there's some things that only come when we have faith and we have discipline. That ultimately it's on God's people to put into practice what he tells us in principle. Do we pray like we say we pray? Do we believe like we say we believe? Are we willing to do that? Here it is. When you're willing to go for your belief, you got to be willing to press beyond your circumstance. For my note takers. To go beyond your belief, to go for your belief, means you are willing to press beyond your circumstance. Your problem will not stop you when you're willing to go for your belief. Because some of us, your problems keep stopping you. Your problems keep stopping you. And sometimes the problems can be multifaceted, right? Because it's not just a problem at home. This is a problem that also happens theoretically in your imagination. View the disciples as the church. So the problem doesn't just happen at home. The boy is having an issue at home. I brought the boy to God's people. Jesus, I brought my son to your people that have been walking with you and performing miracles. It's a metaphor or a picture for his church. So I brought my son to your people, which are representative of the church, and the church also let me down. But the man doesn't stop going for his belief. He leaves them and says, you know what? Y'all playing. Where is Jesus? And if some of y'all can't see this picture, I'm going to put it to you like this, because some of y'all got a problem, because some of y'all won't take, it's not in stock for an answer in the store. Yep. So when one person tells you it's not stock, you say, get your manager.
Whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Some of y'all want to play, because some of y'all don't just do it in the store. Some of y'all do it in restaurants when they change the menu. Like y'all own the restaurant. Get the manager.
Talk to the owner.
Now I want to talk to the owner. If we can take the attitude there, I want you to see the picture. This man says, I'm going for my belief. That the enemy is coming to make me start doubting. The enemy is trying to make me think this can't happen, but I'm going for my belief. I don't care what didn't happen yet. It can still happen in my future. I don't care what's happening now. It can still happen for me. I'm going for my belief. My disappointment will not stop me. And if we're going to be honest, we have to admit that we've been disappointed, and we have to admit that disappointment has the capacity to rob us of our faith.
Jesus.
Nothing is more disheartening than disappointment.
Yes.
Nothing is worse than praying for God to do something that he doesn't do.
Yes.
Nothing is worse than praying for healing and healing doesn't come. Nothing lets you down like that. Nothing lets you down like thinking you're going to win and you lose. Nothing is more disheartening and robs you of your faith than thinking you're going to win this thing and you end up losing. Thinking you got this thing in the bag and all of a sudden it takes a turn. Nothing is more disheartening and discouraging than disappointment.
Preach.
Come on.
But this man, while disappointed, while discouraged, Says, I believe, but help me where I don't. I'm going for my belief. He says, number one, I'm going to press past my problems. Number two, I'm going to press in with prayer. I'm going to press in with prayer. To press past my problems, I've got to realize that there's somebody greater than me that can work it out.
Amen.
I got to press in with prayer. That there are problems that are too big for us on our own, but they're not too big for God.
Amen.
So when I realize that God desires to use me to bring change in whatever the area is, I have to then ask God, God, what would you have for me to do? How would you have me to do it? And Lord, give me the strength to get it done.
Amen.
Amen.
But some of us think we Superman. So you're going to try and do it. You're going to run into the fire without his help. You're going to run into the fire without his covering. You're going to run into the fire without your fire suit on. And then you get mad when you get burned.
Amen.
And now you want to blame God, people, man, and the church. And it was all because you decided on your own. I got a word. I'm called. So I'm going to do this. I know you're saying wait for it, but I want it now. You said go for it, Pastor.
Right.
Now you're telling me to wait. I'm called. I got an assignment. Yeah, but you, skillfulness of your hand, integrity of your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
I got to press in with prayer. Lord, is this the time? Is this the right way? Is this? I got to learn to press in with prayer. When all the odds are stacked against me, I got to learn to press in with prayer. I got to believe that prayer does work, that when prayer really doesn't change the situation, that prayer really does change me. And when I am bold enough to go for it in prayer, he'll remind me he's big enough to give it to me.
Amen.
Amen.
Some of you all have been saying you want peace, but you really won't pray for it.
Hallelujah.
See, the reason you won't pray for it is because if you pray for peace, you got to remove some people you like. But they do you no good.
Amen.
Come on, y'all got to be a little more honest with me than that.
Yes.
Yeah, the real reason why we don't pray for some stuff is we know if we pray for it, he's going to tell us to do some stuff that we don't want to do.
Amen.
Amen. That's true. That's true.
That's true.
Amen.
Talk about it.
I got to press past my problems. I have to press in with prayer. If I'm going to go for my belief, I have to pursue his provision. I have to pursue his provision. What does that mean? It means I have to pursue from God what can only come from God.
Amen.
Because there are times in which many of us trust people to give us what only God can.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
You trust yourself to give you what only God can.
Amen.
But there's some stuff you have to pursue provision from God because only God can do it and give it to you. They used to teach me, at least, at one point in time, this notion that when God gives a vision, he also gives the provision. It was this idea of saying that where God guides, he also provides. It was this notion of if he calls you to do it, he'll see you through it. It was all these colloquialisms that communicated this idea that God will provide.
Yes, he will.
Now, when it's God, not your little g God, but when it's God,
Yes.
not the stuff you've made of God. I'm talking about when it's God.
My Lord.
Not the stuff you want to be God. Some of y'all want some stuff to be God that you know ain't God.
My Lord.
And when you do that, guess what you do? You're making an idol.
Yeah.
Because you made God in your image and not let God make you into his.
Yeah. That's good.
But when I'm pursuing his provision, it means I'm aligning my confident expectation with who he is. And I've got to align my confident expectation because here it is. It's my favorite phrase for the space and season where I've got to do it because advancement requires confidence and confidence requires clarity.
Yes.
I gotta pursue his provision. Put it on the screen so they can see it. If they haven't wrote it down, you need to write this down. I gotta do it because advancement requires confidence, and confidence requires clarity. And if I'm not clear on that, if I'm not clear on where my provision comes from, I will never be confident. But when I'm clear that my provision comes from God, I can be confident that God will perform on his promises. But if you think that provision comes from your job, you will always be disappointed.
Yes.
Come on.
Come on, Pastor.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you think you can conjure up enough stuff on your own, in your own strength, you are disillusioned. But when you become confident that he that has begun a good work in me,
Yes.
Philippians 1:3, shall perfect it until the coming of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Then what I can say, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which lie ahead, pressing for that which is before, I press toward the mark of the upward call. That when I become clear on God's role in my life and nobody else's, I can become confident that it's possible. Are you willing to go for your belief? I stood there last night and I'm done. Worship's giving me some strings or something. I'm absolutely finished. I was there last night and wrestling through this variety of emotions that are out there. And I'm talking to people and with some of the leaders from the community were there, 209 superintendents there, and board presidents there, and some trustees are there, and state senator is there, and we're all outside. It's a sense of hopelessness over on this corner. It's a sense of confusion over here in this area over here. The question still has to be asked. Is it possible that God can change this?
Yeah.
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 And it was a moment of, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe this is your will. I don't believe this is your purpose. I don't believe this is your plan for this generation not to go out like this. I don't believe it's your plan for your people to gather together on Sunday after Sunday and to do all this other stuff and to have great big celebrations and ultimately go out into the community and have no power. I don't believe that's your plan.
Yeah.
No.
If that's your plan, I don't want no parts of it. I'll pack it up, I'll seal it up, and I'll go do something else with my life. I don't want to have a form of godliness and neglect God.
Right.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
Wow.
As we're there and we're believing, we're just in prayer and call me crazy. But I just really feel like something broke.
Yeah.
And it don't mean it's gonna happen overnight, but I felt like something broke.
Yeah.
And Scripture says he came to heal the brokenhearted. Well, he wouldn't say that people wouldn't be brokenhearted, but he says, I've come to heal them. But it takes people willing to help heal the brokenhearted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes the people who are willing to say, I know what the news is saying. I know what the reports are saying. I know statistically what it looks like. And I know everything I thought I learned in school seemingly has been a lie. But whatever it is, I need to find a way for me to put my hand around somebody else and say, if you're hurting, I'm here for you.
Yes.
I don't care what it is. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what they're up against. I don't care what this is. I don't care if they look as strong as I'll get out. I want to be there for somebody.
Amen.
When I'm hurting, am I willing to tell somebody else I'm in pain?
Yeah.
Yes.
And am I willing to be honest enough with God for when I'm uncertain and I'm not sure to say, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. Because what happens is this. He says, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. He says, if you can, all things are possible for he that believes. If all things are possible for him that believes, how dare we turn our backs on God?
Yes.
We had training day yesterday, and There were two areas of ministry specifically that I focused on. I told some of the team that we're shipping for. One of them is our prayer team. The other one is our student ministry. So everything from about 22-ish down. Because I refuse to end up being like this story where he says, you faithless people. How long do I have to put up with you? I served in churches and I've seen churches and I hear stories and I look around and I see big buildings with no people and people with all this stuff with no power. I refuse to be a powerless person that believes in Jesus. I refuse to lead the people that don't have the power of God.
Amen.
But how do I get it? I gotta pursue it. I gotta believe it's not reserved for a special group of elite people, but I gotta believe that I'm part of God's call. I'm part of His elect. I'm part of His chosen. And I want to submit to His plan for my life. I want to submit to His purpose for my life. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of doing whatever else. I want to submit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was there last night. I was reminded of it on Friday night. Can't my water. It was Friday night, and I got the news this Friday evening. When I got it, I was on my way home from work. Talking to Jerry about it. We get off the phone talking to Lo about it. And as I'm getting it, I'm reminded of this question. It sparked something in me 9 years ago. 9 years ago. It wasn't no empowerment church. I just accepted my call to ministry. I preached my first sermon February 2010, I think. Maybe. Might even been 2011. But I'm in ministry. I'm in Maywood. I just sense this crazy call. I feel like there's this darkness. I'm coaching basketball programs. I'm doing some of this other stuff, and my kids are getting shot on corners. This was at the time when people were leaving these parties. They were having these house parties real big. And the kids were leaving these house parties. They were getting shot leaving the house party.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about, and hear me clearly when I say this, I'm not talking about kids who were involved in stuff. I'm talking about kids who were just at stuff.
Right. Man.
And I thought there was this darkness, and we had this dream for empowerment. We didn't know what it meant. I was in college, almost out. I'm out in the sense of leaving because I was wrestling with some stuff there. There was this question that came up, and it was, how radically different would our communities be if we stopped raising our kids to survive their world and empowered them with a vision to change it? And direct me. We started this organization. We didn't know what we were doing. We just believed God. I met Lo that same year. We got together. We planned this event for the community called the State of Our Youth Address. It was for Maywood in particular. We didn't have anything. It was the two of us at my mama's dinner table eating chicken till midnight, planning, working. Because we wanted to host an environment where teens could come and state what was on their heart. Everybody at the time, this is before they started having some stuff they have today. So everybody at the time was telling kids what was wrong with them instead of asking them what was wrong with them.
Yes. Yes.
And so we did this thing, and we masked it up real good. We invited senators and representatives and mayors and to police chiefs and trustees and community leaders. And we told them they were going to be on a panel, but their panel was going to listen to the kids, not theorize about ideas. So they were on the panel, but the kids spoke. I think it was about 100 or so kids that were coming to get together with the organization. They were doing a summer work program. They adjusted their summer work day. The way the kids did work, I think the day before for some hours, so they could come and bring the kids that night for our program. So we had about 100 or so kids, if not more, there. And I say kids, I mean they were everything from I think about 12 to 18-ish, sharing their heart. But it all came from this one question. How radically different would it be if we start raising our kids to survive their world, empower them with a vision to change it? And this week I heard it again. I heard it again. I was with Lo one day this week, and we were actually working on student ministry stuff, and I had no clue that any of this was about to go down, but it was like, yo, what are we doing? It's not the perfect time, it's not the perfect season. We got stuff we figuring out. But we're losing a generation while we're trying to figure out this other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm working on some of this stuff to get, if I can say it how I feel it, I'm working on to get some of these grown adults in the church to get them together. And I'm having to put so much time on having to coach grown adults and to listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm watching a generation die because grown adults don't want to submit to God.
Come on.
We on pause. Because I can't get y'all to trust that God got a plan for your life.
Say it again.
We on pause because I can't get y'all to pray like you're supposed to pray. We on pause because I can't get you to do what God asked you to do when He says, bring ye the tithes into the storehouse and you won't have room enough to receive it. So we got to pump and prime because you won't do what God says do. And so babies are dying because adults won't grow up.
Yes.
It's got to be said.
I wrestled with it all Friday night. And then for me to wrestle with it at this stage is different because I've got an 11-year-old and a 2-year-old at home. So I'm looking at them wrestling with this feeling. Knowing that we can't do everything, but we can do something.
Right.
Yes.
I showed up to training day yesterday and I had a talk with the team about what that means for us. I wrestled in the back. Last night messed me up in such a way, so I'm in the back wrestling some more. And I just keep hearing this is possible.
Yeah.
Come on.
I couldn't say it's possible. It doesn't look like it, but it's possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but it's possible. The circumstances don't line up, but it's possible.
Yes.
We don't have what we need to get it done, but it's possible.
Yes.
And I was there with training day yesterday, and I told them very clearly as I looked across the room, I started giving assignments. I've never done that like that. And I'm in this room yesterday, and Friday night, the messed me so bad because I kept hearing this in the house.
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, we need money to do some of this stuff in particular, because believe it or not, y'all, it takes money to do ministry.
Yeah.
I know y'all think we just pray and doors open. I know you think we pray and buildings let us in. We pray and musicians just show up for free. We do pray,
But we pay.
but we pay. And it's not wrong of them to want it. It costs them money to have these lights on. It's not free for them. Now they work with us, don't get me wrong. And I want you to hear my heart when I say this. It's just we've got to grow up.
Yeah.
If I call a fast, we need to be saying, you know what? I don't like this, Pastor, but all right. I give them my pork. I shouldn't be eating anyway. The doctor told me to put it down a while ago, and I won't stop eating it. All right.
Amen.
I get it. I'm gonna set aside my 10% because God gave me 90. He let me keep 90. He let me keep 90. He was so generous. He said, I just want 10. You got 1,000. I just want this. You got 500. I just want this. Will you give me a little of your lot? And this is messing me up so tough this weekend because I'm like, yo, we got people with $1,200 iPhones. Who won't trust God with their resources.
Come on, Pastor.
So I'm begging God's people to submit to God's plan. And they want to be blessed. But they don't want to do what it takes.
Come on.
Every Wednesday night we have a prayer call. Some nights are higher than others. We shouldn't have to beg you to pray. if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways, then we'll hear from heaven, then he'll heal our land. We got to do our part first. This is our year of becoming. What does that mean, Pastor? It means this is the year I grow up. 1 Corinthians 13, when I was a child, thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I matured, when I grew up, put away childish things. When God calls on his people to stand up, it is his people's responsibility to be ready to respond.
Amen.
I'm going to say this last thing about it. Being ready doesn't mean you have it all together.
Yes.
Yes.
Being ready means you're willing, available, and submitted to be used.
Amen.
It means you weren't playing while everybody else was praying. I didn't send out the devotional text yesterday because I was so wrecked, I was messed up. Some of y'all are on this 40-day fast with us and prayer time, whatever else. Y'all are on this 40-day text journey. We started it. I didn't even highlight it to the church, I don't think. I felt like God was calling me to do it. I sent it out to whoever's phone number we had that I could get to at the moment. I think it was whoever was on our last text journey, to be honest with you. And so whoever was on the last text journey, they got the text. Some of you all just got left out by accident. Sign up when I tell you to sign up for stuff.
Amen.
Yes, I did bring it to church on accident. And wasn't even on purpose. But yesterday I had to send it out. Folk blew me up. Where's my word? Where's my prayer? Where's my scripture? Let me tell you what they did for me, though. And let me know there's some people getting on Sunday that are hungry.
Yes.
That they want God. That they want Him, that they admit that they need Him, that they are so lost without Him, and they really want to grow. And those are the people that I passionately want to lead and give my life to serving and help equipping and lead us on this journey to pursuing God's purpose. That those are the kind of people that I unapologetically want to serve as a pastor of a powerful church. And I hold no reservation saying I don't want to serve dispassionate people.
Yeah.
A group of people who believe we can do this.
Yeah.
That we can flip a community upside down. That's what I want to say. That's what I want to say. That's what I want to give my life to. Not the church as usual. I want to do church. I want to do change.
Yes. That's it, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
sir.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Father, we come. Pray. Not even knowing what to say. But Lord, touch where it needs to be touched. Heal where it needs to be healed. Set free what needs to be set free. Allow us to press past our reservations and press past our fears and press past the label people have given us so that we can be free to pursue your promises. Freedom. Let us pursue freedom. Freedom from the comments of people who ain't gonna understand us no way.
Jesus.
Freedom from relationships that have been holding us back and they're not growing us anyway. Freedom from positions that we hold but they bring no value to people or me. Freedom from just stuff that's not taking me closer to what you want me to be. Freedom from everything that's not growing me in you. Freedom this year.
Yes, Jesus.
Lord, we believe in that. But help our unbelief. Help our unbelief. Do it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Listen, if you're here, you need to make a decision today. I want to invite you to make it. Don't delay. I'm over my time. But if you're watching, if you're here, if you're watching on TV, if you're on Comcast, if you're in this room, you can hear my voice.
Thank you, Lord.
You need to make your decision. Maybe your decision is to be baptized. You say, you know what, I need to give my life to the Lord. I need to make this public demonstration of this private confession. I need to be reintroduced to who I can become. If that's you and you're here, you can check that first box. You can drop it in the basket. If you want to do it today, we can do it today. If you want to catch us on the next one, we do it again the first Sunday in May. Just get in line. Whatever you want to do. If you want to stand, if you want to wave your hand, if you want to say, I just need to do it, whatever you want to do, you need to make the decision. That's your first one. The first one is that you need to become baptized. Second call is that you say, you know what, I'm without a spiritual family. I don't know what I was doing before, but I need to get something about change. I don't know what I've been doing my whole life. I don't know who I've been listening to these other days, but I ain't never heard anybody talk about change in such a compelling way. I never heard anybody talk about life change in church. I'm sorry you had to go your whole life without it. You don't have to go any further though.
Amen.
Because this book ain't nothing but about life change. I'm not a perfect pastor. These ain't perfect people you see standing above us, but I promise you this, we are committed to seeing people reach, lives transformed, generations empowered, all for his honor, all for his glory. We want to reach as many people as possible unapologetically and empower them to win. That's our call, that's our mission, that's our mandate, that's what we're going to do in this season. And I'm raising an army to do it with me. But I'm confident enough to say, you know, if you feel like this ain't the house, but you want to go someplace else, you say, you know what, you just a little too aggressive for me. You aggressive. I am. The roar inside of me in this season done woke up. So I am.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah, amen.
And if it's too much, let me help you. I'll find a place committed to life change. And just that ain't aggressive as I am. I'm okay with that.
Amen.
So you know what, you can be a part of spiritual family. You can check the second box. You can drop in the offering basket. You can stand. You can raise your hand. You can see us and do it however you need to make it. If you're watching online, inbox us, Facebook us, send us a message, flip a bird, come knocking on our doors, whatever. Make the decision today. Don't wait. Don't delay. Whenever you are hearing this message, make that decision today. Third call. You say, you know what, I'm here, but I'm not engaged. I'm not in the game. Get in it. I don't know what to serve, Pastor. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
I'm busy. Me too. Let me show you my calendar. Let me show you my weekly schedule. But Pastor, I work a day job. Me too.
Right. Oh, other job.
Whole other job that is demanding.
Yeah.
But Pastor, I got a family. Me too. Got a wife and 2 kids. I got bills. Me too. You're guilty as charged. So what's your excuse now? I don't know what to do. Some days I don't either. I just pray. I let you guide. If you're here, one of those calls is for you. You can make a decision that you drop in the basket. You can give it to us at the door. However you need to make it today. Don't wait. Don't delay. I believe somebody here is making it, whether you're making it publicly or privately. It doesn't matter to me. As long as you don't leave here today and don't not make it. Last call. I lied. This is your last one. Your last one is this. You say, you know, Pastor, when you start talking about that resource piece, it messed me up because I know that I can do better there. And I haven't. That's between you and God. But I'm trying to tell you, God's church is contingent upon God's people.
Yes.
The advancement of the work of God's church is contingent upon the selflessness of God's people. He blesses his people bless his house goes out and does the work. It's in that work. That he didn't give to you just so you can have every pair of J's that come out.
Yeah.
And some of y'all manage J's and Jesus real well. I love it. There's 2 members in particular. They got J's and they manage Jesus real well. They structure their budget up to get J's and Jesus. If you're gonna grind. Saying you shouldn't have, saying you should take God into consideration with your money.
Yeah.
Why? Because the Bible tells us to. Pastor, why are you doing this? Because it's in the Bible.
Yes.
If I could tell you how to stop eating bad, I could tell you to start giving to God. It's all in the book. You want me to give some people, not everybody? It's a double-edged sword. It cuts and corrects and it heals all of us together. So if you're here and you say, you know what, whatever my decisions I need to make one day, you can make it. you can make it, you can make it. Once you serve the people of God, if you're here, we're going to transition into offering time. If you need to give today, if you say, I got a connect card to drop in the basket today, go ahead and drop your connect card in the basket. If you need an offering envelope, raise your hand. They'll get you an offering envelope. If you need one, they'll get you one. If you want to text to give, you can text the word empowerment to 77977. You can text the word empowerment to 77977. Thank you to all those who give online, who give on your recurring giving. Make sure